Hi everyone, welcome to Mondays with Macy. Today the Holy Spirit told me that I needed to talk about making time for the Lord and how that's crucial in our growth in our relationship with Him. So we live in a world today where we are constantly distracted. There are distractions coming at us from every angle, and it's up to us to be intentional about how we spend our time and stepping away from everything going on in this world and really getting into His presence. Because that's how we learn and get familiar with what His voice sounds like and what being led by the Holy Spirit really is. Many people have told me that they don't feel like they're led by the Spirit and that God is silent. And this could not be any farther from the truth. He's a good God and He wants to lead us. The whole reason He sent us Holy Spirit is so we wouldn't feel alone. We would have someone to guide us. And it's up to us to unplug, to step away. Even if it's just for an hour on the way somewhere or something like that, really get into His presence and allow Him to grow you. And the more you get into His presence, the more your soul starts to long for that time with Him. Any time in my lifetime, I'm 22, as most of you all know, any time that the Lord was silent throughout my life, which a good portion of it was in college, anytime that I felt like He was silent and distant, it was my own fault. And I'm not calling anyone out because, like I said, this is something I've struggled with as well. He really quickened my heart whenever I started to get closer with Him and I started to make Him a priority again. He really quickened my heart and told me that the reason I wasn't being led by the Spirit and the reason I felt like He was silent is because I wasn't giving Him any time. I wasn't allowing Him to grow me and teach me and familiarize me daily on what His voice sounds like and what being led by the Spirit really is. So someone wise once told me that we shouldn't be asking the Lord to talk to us and to speak to us because the Word says that He does. He speaks to us daily. He leads us daily. I want to ask the Lord to make me more sensitive. Teach me how to hear You instantly. And He will always be faithful in helping you grow in an area if we are wise enough to ask and humble ourselves before Him. So I came across Daniel 6:10. Most of you all might know this story, but if you don't, Daniel in this time, a decree was passed that it was illegal for him to pray to his God. And whoever broke this law would be thrown into the lion's den. So Daniel prayed 3 times a day, and he continued to do that after this decree was passed. So in Daniel 6:10, it says, "Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went home. And in his upper room with his windows open towards Jerusalem, he knelt down on his knees 3 times that day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as was his custom since early days." Folks, let that sink in. His consequences were much greater than ours. Most of us, now I have followers from all over the world, but most of us, His consequences are greater. Most of us can pray to the Lord without fearing for our lives. And we still can't give Him time to really just get in His presence during the day. That's a little bit of an issue. Well, a lot of an issue. We really have to humble ourselves and allow Him to teach us, but we can't do that unless we really give Him the time. His consequences were so great that he was thrown into the lion's den, and he didn't care. The presence of the Lord was so important to him, and his growth and his relationship with his Father was so great that he didn't care what the consequences were. We need to have that level of seeking the Father.